Hi guys, in last video we discussed about the looping statements like the while loop, for loop, then the do we discussed about do while loop. So looping statements are completed now. Now we are going to discuss one more important topic in C++, that is a break and continue statement. In this video we are going to discuss about the break statement and the continue statement and what is the basic difference between the break and continue. And I will try to make this video as simple as possible because multiple students get confused with the break and the continue statement. So I will explain you in a very simple manner about the break and continue. Let's start this video. Here we are going to discuss a new topic, that is break and continue statement. So first, let's discuss about the break statement. Break we already have discussed while discussing the concept of the switch case. In switch case, we also have implemented the break statement. Now let's discuss the break statement for the looping statement, like the for loop, while loop. Let's talk about the loops. So the break statement, the definition of the break statement says the break statement, write with this different pen, the break statement can be used can be used to jump out of loop. Jump out of loop. So meaning of the jump out of loop is basically, let's consider you are having a particular condition. You are having a multiple iteration from I equal to 1 to I equal to 2. I equal to 1 from I to I equal to 10. Now I want once the loop statement reach to I equal to 4. In that case, I simply want to skip all the further iterations like the I equal to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's understand this with the example so that you can get the much clear understanding. So here I am using a for loop. I'm writing a for loop over here. For loop. Inside the for loop, I want to start from I equal to 0. Then I want to basically end the loop from I equal to 10. And then after each iteration, I'm simply increasing the value of I by 1. Inside this, I'm writing a condition. If I equal to 4, I equal to 4, I simply want to break. And then I am right inside if this is if statement, and then I am printing cout I and then a line break. So let's understand this. So in first iteration, the value of I is 0. The value of I is 0. So the condition is true. So the execution will move to the for loop. It will check for this condition. I equal to 4. No, I is not equal to 4 because I is 0. In first iteration, I is 0. So this condition will become false. In first iteration, the condition is become false. But this condition is true. So the I will be printed. That 0 will be printed on my output screen. In second condition, in second iteration, the value of I will become 1. The value of I will become 1 because of this I plus plus. So it will again check for this condition I equal to 1 equal to 4. No, the 1 is not equal to 4. So it will print the value of I. So the value of I is 1. I will be printed. In third iteration, again the value of I will be increased by 1. That means I will become 2. Again it will check for this condition. That means I 2 is equal to 4. No, 2 is not equal to 4. So 2 will be printed on my output screen and the value of I will become 3. In fourth iteration, it will check the value of again it will check 3 is equal to 4. No, 3 is not equal to 4. So 3 will be printed, and after that the value of I will become 4 because of this line, this statement I plus plus. In fifth iteration, when the execution will move to the body of, if it's body of the for loop, it will check 4 equal to 4, 4 equal to 4. Yes, the 4 is equal to 4. In that particular case, this break statement comes into picture, and the work of the break statement is to basically eh, simply stop the execution of the for loop, execution of the any loop, for loop, while loop, and to simply came out of the for loop. So after the fourth iteration, once the fifth, it will reach to the fifth iteration, the value of I will become 4. It will check for this condition 5, 4 equal to 4, and condition is becoming true. So the break statement is coming into picture. In that case, the break due to break, the loop is basically the execution of the program is getting outside the loop. This is the work of the break loop. Break loop says once I will get execute, I will simply move the execution to directly outside of the for loop. So all the further iteration means fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, all those further iteration will not execute. The execution will directly jump outside the for loop. So this was about the break statement. Now let's talk about the continue statement. If in case this was a continue statement, if in case this was a continue statement, now this time I'm writing the, now this was about the break statement. Let me not erase this. All these statements will be cancelled. Now let's talk about the continue statement in different example. Continue says that I will not break the whole loop. I will simply break that particular iteration. So the definition of the continue says the continue statement, continue statement breaks only one iteration, breaks only one iteration, one iteration. Let's understand this. I'm taking the same example for I equal to 0, then I less than equal to 10, and then I plus plus. And inside this, I'm again checking the if condition. If this is the body of the for loop, if I is equal to 4, I want to continue. Instead of break, I'm using the continue this time. This is the body of the if statement, and then I'm simply printing the value of I in the for loop. In first iteration, the value of I is 0. The value of I is 0. So it will check for this condition. I is less than 10. Yes, the I is less than 10. It will move to the body of for loop. It will check for this condition. I is equal to 4. No, I is not equal to 4 because I is 0 and 0 is not equal to 4. 0 is not equal to 4. This condition is false. So the continue will not execute, but this statement will execute. So the 0 will be printed on my output screen. And due to this, the value of I will become 2. And in second iteration, the value of I will become 1 because it is 0, it is increasing by 1. The value of I will become 1. Now again it will check for this condition. Basically, first it will check for this condition. 1 is not less than 10. 1 is less than 10, so the value of the execution will move to the body of for loop, and inside body of for loop it will check for this condition. 1 is equal to 4. No, 1 is not equal to 4. So this statement will not be executing. This statement will be executing. So one will be printed on my output screen, and then the value of I will become 2. In third iteration, again the value of I is 2. So again it will check for this condition. This condition is false because 2 is not equal to 4. So the 2 will be printed on my output screen, and then the value of I will become 3. In fourth iteration, the value of I is 3. 3 is not equal to 4. 3 is not equal to 4. So 3 will be printed on my output screen. The value of I will become 4. Now in fifth iteration, the value of I is 4. So in this particular case, the continue will come into picture because this condition is becoming true. That means 4 is equal to 4. 4 is equal to 4. So in that particular case, once the condition will become true, it will simply skip that iteration. It will skip that iteration. It will jump to the next iteration. This continue statement is coming into picture, so it will skip this fifth iteration because in fifth iteration the condition is becoming true. So this statement will not execute. Let me see out. I will not execute. It will directly skip this whole iteration and it will jump to the sixth iteration. It will jump to the sixth iteration. Okay. And is in sixth iteration, it will in fourth iteration it will not print 4. It will not print 4. But in sixth iteration, but it will increase the value of I. It will increase the value of I to 5, but it will not, this print statement will not be executing, but the value of I will be increased. So the value of I will become 5, but we will not get this on my output screen. I will simply get 0, 1, 2, 3, then 4 will be skipped, then I will get 5, and then the further calculation. Let's implement this, then you will get a much clear understanding about this. So here I am writing the break continue dot cpp. Now we are first we are using a break loop. First we are using the break. Let's write the break and continue in for loop. So here I am creating a hashtag include iostream, that is a header file. and using namespace standard int main. Inside this, I'm using a for loop for inside this for int I equal to 0, and I want to stop as I equal to less than 10, and after each iteration I'm increasing the value of I, and then I'm checking one condition. If I equal to 4, then I want to break, and otherwise I want to print the value of I and then a line break. Let's execute this implementation. I already have provided you that like how the things will work. Let's execute this. So as you can see, only 0, 1, 2, 3 is getting printed. 3 is getting printed because in the fourth iteration, the condition will become true. Let me explain you. So in the fourth iteration, when the value of I will become 4, the condition, this break statement, I have not printed. I think there is some error because I forgot to print the I. Let me first erase this, and after each iteration I also want to print out I in a line break. Okay. So in this particular condition, when we are getting what we are getting 0, 1, 2, 3, because when the condition will become true, when 4 equal to 4 will become true, then the break statement will come into picture, and the work of the break statement is whenever the break statement will execute, the execution will directly jump outside the for loop, no further statement like the fifth iteration, sixth iteration, seventh iteration, eighth iteration, ninth iteration. These iteration will not be executing. The execution will directly jump outside the loop. But in case of continue statement, let's implement the continue statement. I'm taking the same example, and I'm simply changing one line. Instead of break, I'm using the continue. So if I will execute this, so initially I was, in case of break, I was getting 0, 1, 2, 3. Now let's execute. In case of continue, as you can see, I'm getting 0, 1, 2, 3. The fourth iteration is skipped. So continue says that I will only skip a single iteration in which that condition is true. So in fourth iteration, the condition was true. So the fourth iteration is skipped. Fourth iteration is skipped. That's the reason we are not getting 4 on my output screen. I'm getting 0, 1, 2, 3. Then if in case of I equal to 4, 4 equal to 4, the continue statement comes into picture. So because of the continue statement, fourth iteration is skipped, and then we are getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this was about the continue and the break statement. Now let's uh, also implement the continue and the break statement in case of the while loop. So this was about the for loop. Now let's comment this. And now let's implement this in case of while loop. Continue and break in case of while loop. Again, I'm taking the same example. I'm starting from I equal to 0, and I'm using a while loop. While I is less than 10, I simply want to print the value of I and then a line break. And once the condition will become true, if I equal to 4, the condition will become true. I simply want to break the loop. This is the same thing which we have implemented in the for loop, but this time the syntax is different because we are using a while loop. So in this case also we will get the same output. Okay. Actually, we forget to increase the value of I. We also need to increase the value of I. Let's save this. Let's execute this again. This time we will be getting the output as 0, 1, 2, 3. The reason is same. Like once the condition will become true, that means the value of I will become 4. The condition will become true. 4 equal to 4. The break will come into picture, and once the break comes into picture, the purpose of the break is to simply jump the execution outside the for loop, outside the while loop. So that's the reason we are getting the output as 0, 1, 2, 3. Because initially it is the value of I is starting from 0, and then it is coming to the 3. Now if in case I will simply change this break to the continue, only the fourth iteration will be skipped and all other iterations will continue. In case of break, I was getting 0 1 2 3 because of fourth iteration. Because of the break statement, I was directly jumping outside the while loop. Now let's execute this in the case of continue statement. So in continue statement, I think we have made some error. Equal to 4. Okay, in basically we need, in continue statement, first we need to write this outside this condition. After this, after those, all the statement will be skipped. So in case of, we first comment this until I equal to 4, condition will come, and then in this I want to increase the value of I, and after that, after this iteration also we need to increase the value of I. So let's execute this. We are getting, I think the program is not getting properly executed. First we have checked I equal to 10. Okay, then we are checking I equal to 4, the condition is true. Then we need to increase the value, and after that we will write the continue statement. Then I equal to continue I, then line break, and then increase I. Let's execute this again. So this time, as you can see, fourth iteration is skipped because of this continue statement. The fourth iteration is getting skipped. So this was about the continue statement and the break statement. This is a very important topic, and this is a little confusing topic. So that's the reason I have explained the break and the continue statement in a very simple format. I have explained each and every iteration. And in this video, we discussed about the continue and the break statement. We also implemented the continue and the break statement using the for loop and the while loop.